Hey there, Pepper people. We're going to be talking a little bit about aerophagia. And you know what's funny? This guy, people like to see Stewie on this channel, but like when he was a kitten, he liked being on camera. But now that he's an adult, he's like, I bust out the camera and he's like out of here. See you, Stewie. I guess that's good. This is not a cat channel. So here's a question I got. So, hey Jason, we worked together a while back on a CPAP consultation. I was wondering if a full face mask can help someone having aerophagia. I have seen mixed answers, thanks. Yeah, aerophagia is a funny one. So I see a lot of conflicting advice online. I hear a lot of conflicting advice from techs. I'll tell you what has worked for me in visiting with people with AXG sleep diagnostics, as this person has, as you have. Aerophagia. Aerophagia is when you get basically air into your stomach. It hurts. I've had it happen myself a few times. It's not pleasant. You feel really bloated. You feel like you need to burp and or fart, and you can't initially. And then throughout the day, you start off-gassing to the amusement or well, my wife doesn't like it, I'll tell you that. What do you do to avoid that? When I first was coming up as a young sleep tech, everyone was like, okay, it's because the pressure's too high. Aerophagia, pressure too high, pressure too high. That's all it was. And then you start seeing certain scenarios where you're like, it's like so much stuff in sleep medicine. You're like, that's not true. My own observations are telling me that that's not right. And so sure enough, if you get the person on the proper pressure, aerophagia goes away. So if we look at this in terms of, like if you're looking at an Oscar graph or something, what you would see is sorry, I had to draw a crude graph. So if we're looking at a breathing pattern, this is you breathing. They're terrible breaths, by the way. That doesn't look like what they look like, but you're breathing, and then you see a decrease in airflow. It doesn't matter how much it is. It can be very subtle, but the key part is right here. This is the gasping for air. When you're gasping for air, you're gonna get, that is a ripe opportunity for air to be pushed into your stomach. Once it's pushed into your stomach, it's just like it's in your digestive tract. It's gonna make its way up or out, one way or another. So that one's simple. Getting to the right pressure is crucial. And then yes, having the pressure too high can certainly cause it too. I find that is rarely the problem though, like very rarely. I find that in meeting with people, typically 99% of them are on too low of a pressure. So I just extrapolate that to mean pretty much everyone. It's probably on too low of a pressure. This is obviously something you'd want to confirm yourself using a program such as Oscar. So the other thing is mouth leaks. Having mouth leaking can absolutely cause you to get aerophagia. It's very similar to this situation here where your breathing is just lessening so much, your airways collapsing and you're gasping. Now, you could actually have right here no leak. In fact, I'll draw that in. Different scenario, one without leak, one with leak. So we have leak, you have no leak, and then all of a sudden your mouth opens and now you're purging air, which is decreasing the mask pressure, essentially causing you to have a sleep disordered breathing event. Then all of a sudden you wake up, mouth seals, air pressure, whap, nails you again, air gets put into your stomach. It's another way you can definitely get aerophagia. This person specifically asked, like, hey, what about, does a full face mask help? I mean, it can help if it's just the leaking that's a problem. So some people have a very difficult time controlling leak with a nasal or nasal pillow mask. And for them, a full face mask is much easier, but you can still have a jaw drop leak, which is, this is a mask, my jaw relaxes, creates a purge here of air, basically just like a mouth leak. And then eventually you're gonna wake up, reseals, wham, you get hit with a big blast of pressure, air gets pushed down in your stomach. So a full face mask alone certainly does not resolve the problem of aerophagia. So there's a couple of things. One, appropriate pressure. Two, keeping leak at bay no matter what kind of mask that you have. Three, some people just really require bilevel. So this is going to be a higher inspiratory pressure and a lower expiratory pressure. Do not conflate this with EPR, which is very similar. You have a higher inspiratory pressure, lower expiratory pressure. It's not like that. It's much faster. It's different. I have different videos on that. Watch those videos. Bilevel is totally different. So some people just need that much lower expiratory pressure that you're breathing out against and a higher inspiratory pressure. Changing to that alone, very often resolves aerophagia. In fact, talk to your doctor about moving to a bi-level if aerophagia is your problem. That's a great way to get put on a bi-level machine. Yeah, you have to go through a bunch of hoops typically, but bi-level is, I would say, a frontline defense for aerophagia. Okay, some people are already on bi-level though, and they're still getting aerophagia. So again, you're getting hit with that air hard. Sake of argument, you're exhaling, it's 10, you inhale, it's 15. That's a big jump up. Now, what if the machine's pushing too much, too fast? Sometimes you need to cut it off. And there's a way you can do that. I actually don't want to tell you that right now. I'm sorry, I'm censoring information. I know it's not something I like to do. First thing to do though, is you can turn off on these machines like a ResMed device, an AirCurve 10 or an AirCurve 11. You can turn off Easy Breathe, which is an automatic rise time feature. In doing so, rise time, in doing so, you're gonna mess with your therapy. But what rise time is when I inhale with bi-level, how fast does it go from that 10 centimeters of water expiratory to 15? And so if I take that rise time and I increase it, that means it's taking more time for that breath to be delivered. It's slowing down that breath. It's decreasing the likelihood of aerophagia. There is a consequence to it because in slowing down your inspiratory breath, it's actually lessening the effectiveness of that particular pressure. But that's okay. It's just about finding a balance that works for you. So with everything pressure related, there's a lot of trial and error. The nice thing about at nighttime as a night tech, I can take someone who's sleeping, I can try all different kinds of things on them in a very short amount of time. If you're sampling this stuff at home on your own, you pretty much have to devote an entire night to it. And did it work or did it not? So it's going to be slower. You just have to understand that. Okay, so what are some of the things you can do to solve the problem? So inappropriate pressure, one, you can get with me, xgsleepdiagnostics.com, or you can do it yourself. I have several videos out there, tutorials, but if you basically see a decrease in airflow and you're like gasping, probably need to increase the pressure. Leaking, you can resolve that with mouth tape. It's simple. The way you do it is important. The product you use is very important. The humidity level is very important. If you're using a full face mask, making sure it's a properly fitting mask, and you need to do something to prevent your jaw from dropping. So that's things like a soft cervical collar. You can use a chin strap for that. Some people have a mandibular advancement device, an oral appliance. You can use that. Anything that keeps your jaw in place is something that's going to benefit you as far as preventing jaw drop. And if you want to prevent spending too much money, you can now always check out the sponsor of this video. That is cpapsupplies.com. This is going to be a short ad, so no need to click through it. Discount code LEFTY20 will save you 20% off. You also get 100 loyalty reward program points, which equates to $5. You can use that for any mask and accessory. You can also use Lanky Fall. That actually saves you 25% off. And then on their website, whenever you go there, they always have a better deal that's going to undermine any deal I have. Tons of great masks and accessories. Check out cpapsupplies.com. So one thing I've also suggested in the past, which I've kind of gotten away from because there's other tools I just mentioned that seem to be better, but there's also a slight chin tuck. And I get a lot of crap from people online about this. This is one of my earlier videos. I was suggesting if you put your head down, tuck your chin, you decrease the likelihood of air getting past your epiglottis and into your stomach. So with that, I believe that chin tucking does help. I had a lot of people say, oh, your neck doctor, which otherwise known as a chiropractor, is not going to be like down with that. Okay, I don't know, maybe not, I don't know. But if we're trying to look at resolving aerophagia, just a slight chin tuck. Look, you can still breathe, like, watch, nothing changes. But listen to my swallowing versus like I can't swallow. If I can't swallow, it means I can't get stuff into my stomach if my chin is tucked. Another thing people say is, yeah, but when you're doing CPR, you don't want to have their chin tucked because it'll block off the airway. I mean, that might be true on an unconscious person. I don't know. I just know that for me and for others, chin tucking has definitely helped. If it's not something for you, you can use certainly any of the other things that I suggested prior. That's all I've got for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I want to thank all the Patreon supporters, all the YouTube members, anyone who buys my product on Amazon, Massbright. If you want to have a one-on-one PAP therapy analysis session with me, check out axgsleepdiagnostics.com. We also do level 2 type 2 home sleep testing, as close as you can get to an in-lab study, but at your home. Check out the sponsor of this video, cpapsupplies.com. And last thing, if you like this kind of content, do me a favor, like, subscribe, and share the video. That certainly helps this channel out. And best of luck to you. Bye. Clean your stinky mask with some Mask Bright, available at Amazon. And time for an extra thick thanks, buddy, to my top level supporters: Doug Toombs, Jason Georgiades, Patricia Espelong, Stuart Hetherington, Alan Liu, Edward Steiner, and I'd like to say thank you also to these people, as well as those other people. Up the ante, you get a shout out. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Barely even on screen, but still appreciate the support.